Looking free from Henderson. Got his Besser in front. Backhander scores. Brock Besser with a second to go. Besser beats Sharks. One was off the glove of Demko. The other missed the net. Now McKinnon to the side.
What's up, Canuck fans? Welcome to The Line Change, a Vancouver Canucks podcast, which is a presentation of DraftKings Sportsbook, as well as a proud member of the Hockey Podcast Network. When the Canucks executed that massive trade with the Wild in December, sending Quinn Hughes the other way, the focus naturally was on the big names coming back, as well as, the centerpiece in that deal, which was, of course, a lot of people were saying Zeke Buium was the unofficial centerpiece in that trade. Obviously, you had the big name or big-ish name, depending on who you ask, in Marco Rossi. And Liam Ohgren was, for many, the fourth, maybe fifth most valuable piece in that deal. The expectations were tempered with him, if not low, especially after his quiet stint in Minnesota. But here we are, 25 games into his Vancouver Canucks career, and since the trade, and Ogren isn't just meeting those expectations, he's exploding past them. We're not just looking at a successful trade acquisition. We're looking at a completely transformed player. The first thing the Canucks noticed, the trait everyone talks about, is his speed. Something that every fan who watches him play, that is probably the one thing that stands out to you, and that is his speed. And I can tell you from experience watching the games, that is one thing that I noticed right away. But the real story, the one that's making him a long-term piece in this organization, is the trait that emerged after he arrived, which is power. Today, we're breaking down Liam Ohgren's fresh start, the mental game that unlocked his physical tools, and why he is the hidden gem and possibly a dark horse in the Quinn Hughes trade. Could he actually be the actual unofficial centerpiece in this trade? Could he be basically a steal? Could we have possibly committed some grand theft Ogren against the Minnesota Wild by stealing this player in this trade? And of course, the Wild get Quinn Hughes, and obviously, essentially the Minnesota Wild won this trade because they got the best player involved. But at the same time, with how Ogren's been playing and what he's done and how he's turned around his very early NHL career, I'd have to say that we committed some grand theft Ogren for sure against the Minnesota Wild, and they are going to miss Liam Ohgren. This very well could potentially come back to bite the Minnesota Wild in the butt. Now, when you hear power forward, you might think of a traditional bulldozer, a player who just smashes opponents, your Tom Wilsons and whatnot. Or if you want to take it even further back, guys like Todd Bertuzzi, that's just not Ogren. He isn't overtly physical. He doesn't run over people, but there is a heaviness to his play that goes beyond just pace. It's the unique combination of his elite speed with a profound strength that creates something new. Now, Vancouver head coach Adam Foote was impressed with him right away, and he said as much, noting the visible strength. He's so young, but to see power and a stride and his strength at that age is pretty impressive, because you're just going to get stronger as you get that true man strength. Now, if you think back to the goal against the Utah Mammoth, where he exploded away from Dylan Guenther and then blew past defenseman Nick DeSimone to finish from Connor Garland's pass, that play, the acceleration, power, and release is the perfect encapsulation of why the Canucks are so excited for this player. He wasn't going to get the guy on the forecheck, and then he got him. Absolutely got him, and that was an absolutely beautiful goal. And I remember watching that live and just being like, holy shit. Excuse my language. Canucks assistant coach Brett McLean, who actually coached Ogren in the American Hockey League, had preempted this. Foote mentioned that Brett told them he could skate and he had some power to his game, and that we saw it in his very first game with the Vancouver Canucks. And this willingness to embrace physicality apparently feels natural to Liam Ohgren now, even though he admits he wasn't always this physical when he was in the junior leagues. He's finding that in this league, you have to win puck battles and you have to be strong and brave. With his directness and heaviness on the puck, Ogren is forcing opposing defensemen under duress since being acquired by the Canucks. The best validation of a player's performance is how they fit with the team, and Ogren has found his niche immediately with the Canucks. For most of the 7 games since Teddy Blueger has returned from his injury, Ogren has been riding on his left side. Obviously, we saw that one game where they paired up Lekaramaki and Ogren on the same line together. But as of in the most recent game, they had Ogren and Blueger flanked by Connor Garland. This trio has been nothing short of Vancouver's best trio in some of their recent games. We saw that in the game against Utah, including being their clearly best unit in the 6-2 loss to the Mammoth. They're driving play, creating chances, and doing all the little things. Doing all the little things right. Garland, whom is a veteran, is already singing his praises, not just for the points, but for the completeness of his game. And this is a quote from Garland, not everyone's going to score 50 goals, but when you build a team, you have pieces that fit, and he's a piece. Garland specifically highlighted his decision-making for a young player, saying, right away, I was like, oh, I'd love to play with that guy. This is significant praise from a veteran known for his high work rate and hockey IQ. Ogren isn't just a raw talent. He's a smart player who knows where to be, and he's embracing the team-first mentality. And, yeah. Guys, it's like I said, the other night in our post-game show? I really want an Ogren jersey. That is how good this kid has impressed me and, everyone else. Furthermore, Foote likes that Ogren is very coachable and a sponge of information. That's obviously always great to be when you're a young player. Suggesting he is a low-maintenance, high-return asset for the coaching staff, he's quickly earning trust and responsibility, including we've actually seen Ogren on the PK as of late. So there's that, and he's eating up minutes. His minutes are slowly climbing up. We're watching a player who is embracing the process of getting better, and the results speak for themselves. The results and not just in goals, but in consistency and trust from the coaching staff, which is crucial for a young player finding his way in the league. Let's take a look at the stats to quantify this change. So in 18 games with Minnesota, he had no points this season. None. Nada. Zilch. And he was playing a defensive fourth-line role and he was a very little offensive threat playing on that fourth-line role. Since coming to Vancouver and in 25 games with the Canucks, he has 4 goals, 4 assists for 8 points. I know that doesn't, scream or jump out at you. 8 points in 25 games. I know. But he's still young, but still that is pretty decent for someone who didn't have a single point in his first 18 games with the Minnesota Wild. And then his last 5 games, Ogren has 3 points and a +3 rating, and he's averaging about 14 minutes and 38 seconds of ice time, which is a significant bump from earlier on in his career. Ogren had 19 goals and 37 points in 41 games in the AHL last season, so the potential was always there, but he struggled to translate that into offense in the NHL during those extended auditions with the Minnesota Wild. This brings us to the most fascinating part of this story, or of his story rather, and that is the mental game. As a 2022 first-round pick, which was 19th overall, he carried the pressure of proving he was worth that selection. Ogren admits that as a high pick, you want to be a good pick for the team, and you want to show that they made the right choice. It's a huge burden when he watched his friend and junior teammate, Jonathan Lekaramaki, who was drafted four spots ahead of him, by Vancouver carry. The trade fundamentally changed that. In Vancouver, he's not the 19th overall pick of the Canucks. He's a new asset, unburdened by the pressure of the original draft table. He describes the trade as a quote-unquote fresh start, which is exactly what it is. It's a fresh start for Ogren, and he's making the most of it. Ogren said, I didn't really have the same, I don't know, pressure on myself. I just wanted to show my game, and then everything just came to me naturally. And then I got confidence from that. This is a powerful lesson in sports psychology. When the mental pressure is lifted, the physical talent is finally free to flourish. His mind is at a better place, and he's more comfortable around the guys and around the staff. Ogren's combination of power and directness on the puck and his ability to get to the net increasingly makes him look like a true power forward, a label he's naturally growing into. And this is just the beginning. Garland noted that his game is still rapidly evolving. Keep in mind, he's still young. He's 21, 22. His pull-up game is getting better. His rush game is getting better. He's young, and he wants to learn. He wants to keep getting better, and he loves the game. Garland believes that drive is only half the battle, if not more. When you look at the 22-year-old, so he's 22, Swede, you see a player who is already substantial, yet still has significant room for growth, and as he adds that quote-unquote true man strength Coach Adam Foote referred to. He has quickly gone from an add-in piece in a blockbuster trade to an established essential part of the Canucks' middle six, delivering value on his entry-level contract. He provides the exact kind of two-way impactful depth that championship contending teams need. The question isn't whether Ogren will be a good player. The question is, how high does his ceiling go? If this is the performance he delivers while still assimilating to a new team, a new city, and a new mentality, imagine what he can be after a full offseason of dedicated training and confidence building. Liam Ohgren is the poster child for the fresh start concept, and he's making the Quinn Hughes trade look better for the Vancouver Canucks with every passing game. And that is hard to say considering the fact that the Canucks traded Quinn Hughes, of all people, away. He's making that trade look better and better for the Canucks, despite the Canucks, essentially having lost that trade because they traded away the best player. But on the other foot, no pun intended. I just realized that. No pun intended on that. On the other side of things, Quinn Hughes, he's flourishing in Minnesota, and I couldn't be happier for Quinn, that he's on a good team, he's flourishing. I mean, heck, he's already the Wild's best defenseman in franchise history. And he's been there 2 months. How long did it take Quinn to be, quote-unquote, the best defenseman in franchise history here in Vancouver? It took him a while. Excuse me. But that's beside the point. So, what are your thoughts? Did you expect this kind of production from Ogren so quickly? Where do you see his ultimate role on this Canucks team, especially as they continue their rebuild and eventually, hopefully, sell off their veterans, and that allows these younger guys to play a bit more? I know Ogren's already got at least, over 14 minutes of ice time, consistently, but perhaps that ice time can increase even more once they sell off their veterans, and we can see even more what Ogren is made of. And yeah, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this, and what are your thoughts on Liam Ohgren, and do you agree with me that we pulled a little Grand Theft Ogren on the Minnesota Wild, getting Liam Ohgren? All the focus was on Marco Rossi, Zeev Buium. All the talk has been about Zeev Buium and how high his ceiling is and his potential. But do not overlook Liam Ohgren. He is going to be a stud for years to come, at least in my opinion, for the Vancouver Canucks. And like I said, I really want me a freaking Ogren jersey now. But I'd like to thank my main and primary sponsor, none other than DraftKings Sportsbook, which is a official sports betting partner of the NHL, but this time it's also an official sports betting partner of the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 60 deserves a sportsbook that's built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. Anything can happen during the Super Bowl, and DraftKings has your back with early exit. If your player goes down in the first half, you still get paid in cash when your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. While other sportsbooks don't offer injury protection, DraftKings covers the entire first half, even the second quarter. An early exit works on live bets too, pregame or in-game. DraftKings has you covered. Super Bowl 60, a rematch from Super Bowl 49 between the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. Seahawks pass rush versus the Patriots offensive line. Seattle's front, Leonard Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence, Boy May look to pressure Pats QB Drake May, challenging a potentially weaker Patriots O-line. Are you new to DraftKings? New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN, that's code THPN, to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. For Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states, void in Ontario, restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which will expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. This is a limited time offer. I'd like to thank my secondary sponsor, none other than Gassy Jack Art, maker of this amazing artwork you see right here in front of you, and you guys can check them out yourselves at GassyJackArt.com. All right, this video has been a presentation of DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours, as well as the Hockey Podcast Network. Be sure to check out the network for your favorite team covering your favorite, I just goofed that up. Sorry. Rewind. Be sure to check out the network for your favorite podcast covering your favorite team at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com, the home of hockey podcasts, where it's every team, everywhere. Now, if you enjoyed this breakdown of the Canucks' unexpected new power forward, hit that like button and subscribe to the Line Change for more in-depth analysis of the team. You can also make sure to turn on your notifications so you do not miss a single video. Once again, if you want to stay up to date on all your Vancouver Canucks content. Also, a shout out and thank you to anyone who has purchased some merchandise from our official merchandise store. And if you haven't, you go ahead and do so if you wish. We are currently selling our 1-year anniversary collection. I actually just recently added some items to it. I believe there was a couple hats, some more color options for some of the shirts and hoodies. So go ahead and check that out, thelinechangepodcast.threadless.com. Also, if you want to have more in-depth analysis and conversations, join our official Discord. There's a link to it in the description down below. It is completely free to join. You can find and interact with us all over social media. We're everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, even Blue Sky. Feel free to give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. Speaking of platforms, if you prefer an audio version of this podcast, you can find us on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. On Spotify, feel free to give us a follow as well as rate and review us on either platform. It is, of course, greatly appreciated. Also, if you have a favorite episode that you just couldn't get enough of and just want to watch over and over and over again, you can download your favorite episode as well. That too also really helps out the podcast. And of course, as always, we are very greatly appreciative of that. But drop your comments down below. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next Line Change.